I came out with a bold market watch piece. We'll put it in the show notes, but that investors shouldn't overlook Oracle right now, and that the company's in the midst of a bold comeback. Now, the company had its earnings this week, and it's hard when a company grows 4% and misses its revenue target, albeit by like a few bucks, and beats earnings, slightly, to be like, oh, they're making a bold comeback. But I believe that despite the fact that the growth was, only 4% on the whole top line, that some of the information that was revealed by Safra Catz and Larry Ellison in this quarter's earnings tells another story. Now, Pat, what have you and I complained about the most over the last 2 or 3 years when we've talked about Oracle?
Yeah, it's about cloud. I think we complained about it in different ways. You wanted IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS broken out, but guess what? Nobody in the industry is doing that, right? Yeah. But it would make our lives. Even Amazon's not doing it, even though I know that Amazon takes pot shots at other people. It's like, no. Amazon, you have IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS, and you don't break it out. So
no. It's a great point. But I think what we both complained about, besides the fact that maybe I was asking for an unreasonable amount of individual reporting here, is that we weren't getting any reporting. We were getting growth numbers against nothing. We were like, oh, you're growing Net Fusion 38%. Well, was it $1 and now you're doing $1.38, or was it 100 million and now you're doing 138 million? We didn't know. And so this quarter, the company finally came out, had a bulleted headline in it that it had reached $2.5 billion in cloud sales. So that's SaaS, PaaS, IaaS. That's cloud at customer, the hybrid cloud solution, where basically Oracle drops its cloud off in your data center. But that's out of, about what, $10 billion, $10 billion run rate out of about $8 billion in total revenue, or $9 billion in revenue this entire quarter, Pat. That's a big piece of the company's business right now. Very significant. And I guess the real reason I'm saying they're making a bold comeback is 3 years ago, I jumped on Market Watch and I wrote an article that essentially said Oracle is a cloud pretender. And I think you would have agreed with me, Pat.
At that point, they were.
In the first generation, the Gen 1 cloud, it just wasn't even close to offering a competitive solution to what Azure, AWS, IBM, or Google, any of them had. But when someone gets it right, Pat, our responsibility as analysts is to turn around and say, you know what? Prove me wrong. I'm glad you did. So, Clay Maguric and the team at Oracle with their Gen 2 cloud, the autonomous database technologies, and then, of course, the rapid growth of their SaaS products, NetSuite and Fusion ERP, both growing, by the way, faster than core Salesforce products, just as a percentage basis. Not as big, but as a percentage. And in between Salesforce and Dynamics cloud products, pretty impressive growth rate, Pat. But a $10 billion run rate puts Oracle firmly in the spot right after Azure. Now, I know that's going to hurt some people's feelings over in Mountain View, but Gartner, and we don't cite Gartner on this show, Pat, because we run our own analyst firms, but Gartner does do the quadrants. They do some benchmarking stuff we don't do. But apparently, in at least one report that an analyst is planning to put out, they've actually have Oracle usurping Google as the number 3 cloud player. So when I say a bold comeback, look, the whole future of Oracle is the bet. Can the company make the transition to cloud? They have 400,000 customers. They have 74% of their revenue, I believe, last time I checked, is recurring. Stable company, pays a nice dividend. Stock is up almost 40% on the year. It's doing all the right things, but 4% growth is boring. But when you're growing high double and triple figures in cloud, and your entire claim is that you will become a cloud company, and you start to execute and you're proving it in your results, and you're finally coming out with numbers, you got to give kudos. Oracle, it may be a company that nobody gets too excited about when you say the name, but maybe it's time to get excited because they're doing some really good things.
Daniel, you covered pretty much everything. So what I'm going to do is, I don't know if it's a victory lap or not, but I was pretty harsh on Oracle and cloud. I mean, I wrote a pretty nasty article about Larry and some of the stuff that he had said and some of the claims that he had made, and that was during Gen 1. And I just thought the company was flailing in IaaS, which they were. Gen 2 comes along, bare metal. They hired a bunch of engineers from Amazon, including Clay. And by the way, that always doesn't get you the results you want. IBM had hired a bunch of Amazon people, and it didn't end up the same here. But the fact is that Oracle Gen 2 Cloud is competitive. And I love the way that they're using it as a weapon for their SaaS businesses. Because if you look at Salesforce has to share the profitability, and SAP for that matter. They have to share the profitability with an IaaS provider. And if you look at AWS's OpInc, which is about 30 points, and let's say on a good day that they're getting a 30% discount, right? You're still looking at that's 20 points that is being given to AWS that Salesforce and SAP could be taking had they made the investments in CapEx and had that capability. So if nothing else, Oracle is really looking good on enterprise SaaS capabilities driven by a competitive cloud that is underneath it.